right, Melpel. We got one more thing to do here. Let's head over to the hotline and bring in the head coach of the Marlin Bulldogs, head coach Ruben Torres. Coach, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are things in beautiful Marlin, Texas?
Oh, things are going well. Basketball's underway. Off season just kicked off earlier this week, so we're back to the grind.
So I'm going to give people some backstory. If they don't know, you're an El Paso guy. Had two different head coaching jobs there. Had a quick stint at Franklin before we flash back now to February of 2021, and the Marlin Bulldog position comes open, and you step back into a head coaching role. Take me back to that time. What made Marlin the right job for you?
I think first of all, for me personally, I felt like I was pretty stagnant in El Paso, and I wanted a new challenge. And um, I think as coaches, you always at some point after you have some success, you wonder how good you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get out of a familiar territory and really come out here and compete against the best in a new environment. And I thought Marlin, with the talent that they had, I felt like it was a good opportunity to come in here and change things around. Obviously, I have a lot of belief in myself and my ability to coach. And I was really excited just seeing the type of athletes that they had and the vision of the district and the superintendent and what he was about. And I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to take over.
Well, and that's the thing. I love how you said that too, of really wanting to test yourself to a certain extent, because let's call it how it is. The Marlin program was a program that had been struggling. I mean, as close as 2018, they were an 0-10 team. And so you knew you weren't going into this cushy job where they go and compete for a state championship every year. And then you turn around and, I mean, just completely flip this program within a year. What was so attractive to you about being able to take a struggling program and just run with it?
I think my first head job was similar as far as the struggles went.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that experience, and then of course just over the years, your philosophy changes. You learn what to do, what not to do. But let's face it, coming from El Paso, you're not gonna land a quote unquote premier job.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was an opportunity to come out and either take an assistant job in the Metroplex or land this head job. And so either way, taking this job, I knew that to get a head job out here, it was going to be a program that, needed some change. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's why jobs open, right? For the most part, because previous staff didn't win. Um, and so, I just, I trusted myself, I trusted my faith, and I reached out to a lot of people that I consider mentors and took a lot of advice and went for it.
Now, when we say you turned the program around fast, I mean, we mean fast. Y'all had a state semifinal run. I was there at the game against Holly. Before we get to the on the field play, the one thing that I'm always curious about to know with a coach that starts a program like this basically and trying to rebrand everything, when you go into the off season and you're looking to implement a new scheme and to get that going in a very short amount of time, when you first get there, kind of what are the first steps that you go through of saying this is how we're going to do things and this is what we're going to do?
Well, I think those steps were probably steps 3 and 4 for me. When I first arrived to Marlin, I wanted to spend just as much time as I could with our kids and just really getting to know them. Obviously, I was very unfamiliar to them, and they were to me. So really, those first couple weeks, it was just talking to them
Mm-hmm.
and getting to know them, and we didn't really talk much football. A lot of teaching and explaining of why we're going to do things, but they had a lot of input as far as I'll never forget our first meeting with them. I asked them, tell me 4 things that you want, and they talked about being respected. They talked about competing. They talked about being taught, and they wanted to win. And so I gave them an opportunity to really voice what they wanted, and we just went from there. And then we got into, listen, whatever we were doing before wasn't working. We have to be willing to change. We have to get out of our comfort zones. you guys have to get out of yours, I have to get out of mine. And for a long time there, it was just me and one other coach in the off season,
Hmm.
which ended up being a good thing because we were all forced to get to know each other.
Right.
And the kids were great. I mean, they took to me a lot faster than what I thought they were, and what I think a lot of people from the outside looking in thought that they would.
Well, man, you have me ready to run through a brick wall for you right now. Let's get to that on the field play. We'll get to your offense in a minute because I feel like it's really easy to get caught up in the explosivity of that offense. But your defense was the same way, man. I mean, from the front seven in particular, just how quick they were, how easy they were to get in the backfield. Kind of what did you enjoy most about watching that unit gel for you this season?
We knew coming in that defense always takes off quicker than offense, and
Hmm.
we knew that we had a very good defensive personnel, especially like you said, the front seven. I felt like, and had we had Dre Bledsoe, that front seven would have been even more impressive.
Hmm.
Um, but we made sure that we put our kids in the best positions for them to be successful, and I think that that's one of the biggest attributes of coaching. And so, working with our defensive staff, I felt like we were able to put a lot of kids in the right position. I mean, Darian Gillette, who's of course the top recruit in the state,
Hmm.
he played two positions this year that he's never played. He had never played, that hybrid linebacker and a wide receiver. And so just getting kids in the right place and then believing in, hey, I'm here and I'm going to have my chance to make plays. And they really, all these kids are best friends or cousins. So they really do have a close bond. And then just us nurturing that and then teaching it and watching it grow was the funnest part, especially when you get, I think against Holly, we started three freshmen.
Wow.
And seeing those kids really grow up, they come in the summer and they're freshmen, and then by the end of the season you look at Tyron Bell, the inside linebacker who led 2A in tackles. He's not a freshman anymore.
Right.
And so those are the things, to see the personal accomplishments of those kids and watching them smile and hold up trophies and play hard for each other.
Well, and then moving on, I mean, over to that offense, too. Talk about a unit that gelled just as well. I mean, you had explosive firepower everywhere. Traydon Butler, Darian, like you mentioned, Ty Harris. I mean, when you got to kind of sit back and watch film, just how fun was that for you to get to see, like, man, these dudes, they're like flies. I mean, they never quit moving.
Yeah, and I think to be that explosive with that amount of kids, you have to really tip your hat off to their football IQ
Hmm.
and how quickly they were able to grasp the concepts and the formations and the motions. I mean, Trajan Butler and Darian Gillette specifically. I mean, we were able to install plays where they were playing completely different positions. And so that, I think that made it tough on defenses, and it gave them a chance or gave us a chance to exploit mismatches. But I think when the kids knew and believed that everyone was going to have an opportunity to get their touches, and that's hard to do when you have Gillette, Butler,
Right.
Ty Harris, and then we have a first year starting quarterback coming in a new system, to get everybody touches, and then you throw in Zamarian Lofton, who was a two-way guy for us, and then getting him his touches, and he was explosive for us. But they all bought in, and they all knew they were going to have their opportunities. And I think we were going into uh, our second playoff game right after Bostonville, and I hadn't realized there was a stat that one of our assistant coaches brought to me, and Trajan Butler had 30 touches and 21 touchdowns or something
Wow.
like that.
Yeah.
And
So explosive is correct.
yeah, and and I'm asking myself, oh God, why am I getting him the ball more?
Right.
But so I mean, it's fun, and just to see them again, same thing on defense, just to see them play for each other and have fun and have some success on the football field that they haven't had in a long time, and especially our seniors. Those kids have been through. I was their third head coach in 4 years, and for them to really buy in and step up and take leadership roles like Ty Harris and Trey Thomas and Tremaine Richardson, just to see those guys, in their senior year on a nice playoff run where they achieved much and And we've talked about it here, the Marlin story, about how much bigger than football this was, because this community had been through so much,
Mm-hmm.
not just with COVID, but the freeze and the threats of the shutdown of the school and academics and all the negative press. And I really believe that this team, these players, saved, our city and gave them new hope and a new burst of energy. And our community traveled with us all year round, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really special to see and be a part of.
Yeah, man, that crowd y'all had was awesome at that state semifinal game. That was fun to watch. One more question for you here, Coach. I know it's only January, but obviously football coaches, they don't turn their brains off. They're always thinking about football. And so when you look at what you have coming back, a lot of young guys with a lot of talent. What are you excited for about this 2022 squad?
Well, we had a team meeting yesterday, and we talked about you're only as good as your last game, and we can't get comfortable and satisfied. What they did was definitely great, and they should be very proud of it. But I think last year's gone, and so the fact that we're able to have a real off season now, where the kids understand the expectations, they're familiar with the coaches, and vice versa. Um, we should be months ahead of where
Mm-hmm.
we're at, and we don't have to take the time to install a base offense anymore. They know it. Our seventh and eighth grade teams both won district, and they ran our offense. So even with those kids coming up, they'll be familiar with our base, and so it is time to take that next step. I mean, we're not going to sneak up on anybody, um, and that's part of earning that. But
Mm-hmm.
we've got to get better. We've got to get better at tackling. We've got to get better up front. You look at the state semifinal game. We made a lot of mistakes that we hadn't made in the previous couple of weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
getting consistent and again, just continuing to get better in all phases.
Absolutely. Well, he's Coach Ruben Torres, the head coach of those Marlin Bulldogs. Coach, congratulations on an unbelievable run, and go ahead and give your band director a pat on the back for me. When I say that that's like the best 2A band I have ever seen, they were rocking with it.
Oh, they were awesome, and this was their first year under
Wow.
our new band director. So absolutely, I mean the band, the dancers, the energy. And that band is probably 80% middle school kids.
Holy cow.
So,
Wow.
our band is impressive. I mean, they really they turn up for sure.
Yeah, we were down there vibing with it. So yeah, tell them thank you for a good time there. But Coach, congratulations! Really appreciate you joining us, and we're super excited to watch your 2022 season.
All right. Thank you guys. Happy New Year.
Thanks,
You
Coach.
as well, Coach. There he goes. Marlin head coach Ruben Torres. Appreciate him joining us there.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.